Very good morning to you.
Morning.
Hope you're well.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Can I just check your frustration levels? Because having seen what happened on Tuesday night at Wolverhampton Wanderers, I imagine your frustration levels must be fairly high at the moment.
On the moment, but you have to learn to manage this in the job, and always turn it into something productive. My way to deal with these things is to get up the next morning and go again. But it's an important mindset.
How do you deal with that with the players? Are you talking to them in the dressing room directly after the game, or are you a manager that likes the dust to settle and will maybe analyse that the day after?
I think you always have a small debrief after the game, usually in the dressing room, couple of minutes, but nothing. Sometimes there's a lot to say, sometimes not a lot, and then the next day. But always, we have another game now on Saturday, so it's also leading into that next game.
And when you've done a review of the game, what stance are you taking with the players? Are you having to be very careful with them in terms of their confidence? You can't afford to criticise them too strongly. What sort of view do you take?
I mean, the way to come to judge a performance objectively is best after you've done your review. So you do your review and you analyse, obviously, every phase back of the game. And I'd say start of the season, there was so many correction moments, so many working points, things that we really needed to sort on the training ground. And as you go through the review of the last games, in many occasions, there's a good blueprint, a good template of things that they're actually starting to do well at this level. Result, obviously, rightly so, takes the prominent place in everything we do, and therefore you can't make certain mistakes. But in terms of the game flow and what they do, and objectively speaking, the team's been on par with a lot of the teams we faced recently, but we have to bring it over the line now.
In terms of injuries, how's Luca? Because he came off after just half an hour.
Yeah, it's bad news for us. He's going to be out for a while apparently. So yeah, we'll do everything we can, obviously, to make sure that he'll get back, healthy and ready to go again. And I think now the key concern for us is to make sure that he doesn't sustain any long-term damage because he's still young. So we're really gonna do everything that's right by him.
What's he done?
No, I can't really share the medical details, but it appeared that in a collision he did something to his knees. We think he's going to be, like I said, long-term fine, but for now, short-term, we have to give him the time to recover.
And I know timescales are difficult with injuries, but are you saying, you're not going to see him till maybe after Christmas? Or
no, I'd like to think he'll still play this season, but it might be towards the end of the season.
That would be a significant blow both for you and for him, clearly.
Yeah, but past the fact that it's a blow for a young player, and I still think it's for someone else now to step up and wear the shirt in a way that Luca has done it. I think as well, him being young, I still think in these moments, it's just like with defeat and injuries and these moments, if you can keep your head calm, you can really get better, get stronger from these moments. So I hope I have no doubt that he'll come back stronger. But for us, short-term wise, yeah, it's an undeniable blow.
How's Lyle?
Lyle's making good progress, yeah, and we've just spoke about two names, obviously at this level where every detail, all the margins count. It could be better, but as well, I think that we will recover both players, and when both players are ready to go again, we'll benefit from them being Burnley players.
Again, I guess with Lyle, you've got to be very careful in terms of time scale. You've got to allow him the time to get back on his feet. Any indication at all of when you might see him again?
I just know that he's getting good care, and he's in a better place than he was, I think, 4 weeks ago now. So let's put it in this way. The most I can say is I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful that it won't be too long before he's able to come and help us again.
With those two players not around, does that impact your plans for January in the transfer window?
The squad is still fairly large, and we don't have unlimited resources. So, but I'd say this: I think I think if we can find a way to improve the squad drastically, we'll do that. But if it's just to add numbers, that's not what we're out for. So you might see 1 or 2 or 3 names get floated around, but they would have to. There would have to be real needs. There's a couple of positions where we don't have maybe as many numbers, but there's a few positions where we have good numbers.
And how tough is a trip to Brighton, bearing in mind they won again last night? I think they've gone up to 25 points.
Yeah, they're it's funny because they've become one of the top sides now for me in this league, right? And I remember playing against them in my last ever Premier League game, which was about 4 years ago. And the progress they've made since is incredible. I think they stayed up on maybe the last game of the season or the game before that, and we won the title there. So that was my last game there, but 4 years ago, and I think we had 90% of the ball or whatever, and it was a game that we expected to win. And if you look at the progress they've made since, they've managed to establish themselves in every way possible as one of the top teams in this division, and that's due to many things behind the scenes as well.
The winner was scored last night by a teenager. I just wonder whether that fact and the progress that they've made, is that an example of maybe that Burnley would want to follow in terms of the way that club's grown?
I think the model is certainly. I mean, they've had. Because funnily enough, it was also one of my first League Cup games or something in the country. So they were playing at the Athletic Stadium at the time before they moved to the arena. So to get through the leagues, they've had an idea a long time before they got into the Premier League. They've had, of course, healthy backing, but healthy ideas as well. And if I look at what they've become today, it started probably when we played against them on that athletic pitch, and that's kind of what successful projects are all about. That vision, that dedication, and what they are today is it doesn't surprise me that they not only recruit players, produce players, coach players as well, because they've had very good coaches over the years that have turned them into operationally a very successful club.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Vincent, when you talk about Brighton and their evolution, when you watch film of them now, what do you see as the greatest strength of them?
No, I think they're very complete in many areas, and they've done that really well. The profile of the players that they have fit exactly the way they play, and they're all either. They've got a good mix between experienced players and promising players for the next level. And the strength of it all is when you're able to sell a few players and bring new players through that actually give you either something different or maybe even further strengthen the squad. And they're a prime example of probably sustainability and competitiveness at Premier League level. But for us, it's just another tough game, like every game is this season,
How do you approach the challenge that they pose? I mean, Sheffield United have been there this season and proved you can take something from there. And I think last night's victory was their first at home since September. So do you see opportunities? Yeah,
I very recently reviewed that game. Let's bear in mind that they went down to 10 men at the beginning of the second half because the game was very clearly going one way. The thing I would say is, for us, I think we always have the mindset that we can do something. We do. I felt like that when we played against Wolves. I felt like that when we played Palace, even Arsenal, and the team has that belief. Now, to get it over the line is what we're talking about now, is that one moment where J-Rod is one-on-one with the goalkeeper, put in the back of the net, the decision-making in the first phase when we have the ball. And in so many occasions, they do it well because we do create from a number of situations. But it's that final bit that we need to get right.
Do you feel you're closer?
Yeah, because like I say, if I look at it objectively and I go through the game, there's very very good content there, and there's clear improvement of individuals of the collective, but it means nothing until we get the result right. I mean, it means something because in the discussions I've had with you guys over the last 12-18 months, I've always spoken a lot about the difference between saying you want to win and actually what you have to do to win. So I believe that what we're doing now will lead to us winning. But in the moments when you don't win, you get tested. Your resilience get tested. But it's there. It's there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Vincent. Just on Luca, he came back on Tuesday, didn't he? He tried to play on, so presumably he felt he could run that off.
No, but when I think this type of injuries, when it happens, you never know the extent of it. Sometimes it could be, you feel like it could be a bang, it could be, but it's only when you get into in the scanner that you know what you've really done. And unfortunately for us, it's not good news.
You do have good wide options, though, don't you? Jakob Bruun Larsen has been in the team of late. How have you assessed his development this season?
Yeah, is one of the players we have in wide areas that we think are exciting. And with him, it's always been a case of basically him fulfilling his talent. You know, he's always been a big talent, and he's had ups and downs in his career. But what he's got is he's got a tremendous attitude. So anytime you need him, anytime he can be relied upon. I still think he's got a lot of margin for improvement. He would know that as well. I think the talent he can be even better. But what you always get with him is a player that's 100% committed, and that's always nice to work with as a manager.
I guess having come off the bench at Luton and scored as he did, and then his composure against Sheffield United, that must increase his confidence no end to actually be able to deliver on the pitch.
Yeah, I think so. And but the biggest thing I'd say is that Luca was achieving a level at the moment that he was a little bit on a level of his own at the moment. So you don't just replace that by putting another person in. The other person's just got to do what something that he's able to do, right? that himself is able to do. So the big thing for me now is, okay, we don't have Luca anymore. Can we use the best of either Bruun Larsen or the Bear or Mikey Trezor or Anna Zaroury or Benson, so we've still got players that, Goodmanson as well. I'm going to forget names now. I should have never started with the list.
You do have good options there.
Oh, yeah, because the one player I forget, we'll look at this at the fine print. But my intentions are just to say that we have to now rely on other players to bring what they've got to the game.
Why do you like so many of those type of players in your squad?
I think you can class them as wingers, but it's the versatility that's important. But I don't think we're doing anything revolutionary. If you look at the squad's 9 Premier League teams, most teams have got, and I don't know whether it's us recruiting for that or players actually getting educated like this more through the academy, through the youth systems. But a lot of players now are comfortable playing 1, 2, 3, 4 positions. It's and it's important because this season we thought we might have needed Goodmanson a bit more central. Then you need him a little bit more wide. There's always that combination of what is your defensive task defensively, what is your defensive task, what is your task on the ball, and players who can be a little bit more versatile, they help you a lot with that.
You mentioned the other night about the small margins, especially at the bottom end of the Premier League. How do you best go about narrowing those margins? What's the best solution?
Put a ball in the back of the net. But in terms of, for me as a coach, I think just always do everything you can to help them improve. I think part of it is to give them a structure. that they can play out more often, and therefore they get better. To give them, again, principles, habits, standards of not just playing but behavior as well throughout the week, and then accept that it's a league where the stakes are very high. So you're not fighting relegation without having a team that's going through moments like what we're going through. So I have to be able to support the players in these moments as well, not just look at them and say, why aren't you doing this? I fully expected this, and I'm fully motivated, even to a point where I'm excited to see them actually go through this process of the pain and then the gain.
Thanks, Vincent. Good luck.
Thank you.
Hi, Vinny.
Hello.
Josh Cullen and Jack Cork, are they still unavailable?
Yeah, there will be.
Yeah. Obviously, you got Jordan Bay back from suspension. You got a good headache now with 4 centre backs fit and available.
Yeah. Let's let them compete, let them perform, and that's what we're after.
Yeah, you do have some players that, Alder Keel, Connor Roberts, Zaruri and Benson, not played as much recently. What's your message to them? What do they need to do to force your way into the plans?
Keep working hard. It's the situation where we're in now, it can't be about the individual. It has to be about the team. And at some point, everybody has an opportunity to show. And when you have the opportunity, then make it clear to everyone. That's how it kind of works in a game.
Please, let's move into the embargo. Oh, sorry, finish with Ian Parker, PA Media. We never forget.
I just want to ask, I know you keep the focus on yourself, but we've seen Bournemouth picking up some results and a bit of a gap opening up towards the bottom. How important is it to make sure that you don't begin to look cut adrift, just in terms of maintaining belief within the squad? Yeah,
but I tend not to pay too much attention to the league table, because that doesn't get me points against Brighton, doesn't get me point in the game after. But I kind of see, I'm not surprised to see some of these teams pick up points and do well. I've seen the squads. I've got an understanding now of what they have in terms of quality, and like I said, so far I haven't been surprised in any way, shape or form by how the league is shaping up. And the only thing I'm focusing on now is on making sure that, okay, first we were trying to get our performances up. Now we've got performances consistently. I'm not saying we're not going to have a bad game at some point, but we've had consistently good performances now, and that needs to yield points. And that's the only thing I focus on, because if you have consistency in performances and you believe you can get the points, then you shouldn't worry about anybody else. But at the moment, that's my only focus.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, if you begin to see a gap opening up, it will affect belief and confidence within the squad, won't it?
That would... Maybe with other people. I don't really work like this. Okay. I'm sorry. I cannot relate one bit.
Okay, fine. I just wanted to ask as well, you talked a little bit about January. Is there money left to spend, or would you be looking at loan markets? Because it was obviously quite a busy summer.
I think it always depends on a number of things, but we'll see. I don't see how we could drastically go out there and drastically spend our way into staying in this division. I think it'll have to be a combination of one or two really smart deals if we find them, because also you're not necessarily always in the strongest position when you're in the bottom of the league to go and make a case to a player to commit his future to you. But there might be an opportunity, and then the key thing for us is also making sure that the players that we have now and the clear improvements you see, that they keep that progress to level up, to turn. I mean, I just want to mention one player. It doesn't really matter. We could mention Luca Koleosho as well, but he's not going to be there now. But like the likes of Zeki Amdouni, or maybe even Sander Berg in recent performances. So these guys, their performances has improved that much from 2 months ago, and they've got that much still to go, that could also be a key factor of us actually turning these performances into results. You know, it's also part of the job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're moving.